Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not be afraid of the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. In fact, we can be talking about the stars, but it's a little hard to feel their effect this week, because if you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Going Nowhere. And why is that? Or why could you be feeling as if, you're going nowhere right now? It's because an odd thing is happening in the heavens, and it is that of the 10 planets up there, 9 of them have not changed their signs that they were in since last week. They're all in the same signs they were in last week. Only one planet has moved on. And so this week we still have 8 planets that are harshly squaring each other in the fixed signs. Remember, that can sort of indicate a clash of the titans or a war going on, or people with very strident opinions that are simply not going to give in or not going to compromise at all. And so that can create maximum gridlock right now. That's still going on. But so you may feel as if, gee, there's so much tension, or there's so much delay going on that nothing's really happening. But that's not really true. In fact, this is a time, even though the planets are in static positions right now, except for that one planet that moved on, there can still be some things going on in subtle ways, some changes going on in subtle ways. And that's why I say this is just the calm before the storm. And that is because we have Mars and Uranus in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, squaring. And then we have the planet that moved. We have the moon, which last week under the Aquarian new moon, the sun and the moon were both in Aquarius, along with a lot of other planets. But now that moon moved on, and it moved into Pisces, then it moved into Aries, and now it is in Taurus, and the moon is exalted in Taurus. So it's very nicely placed there, but it is joining Mars and Saturn, or Mars and Uranus in Taurus, and they are squaring Saturn, the third malefic planet, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and the Sun in Aquarius. And that Sun is at the fateful 29th degree today. So there's still 8 planets in fixed signs, and they're the same fixed signs as last week. But the moon has moved on, and that does create a subtle shift. And in fact, there are 2 or 3 other things that are sort of shifting maybe below the surface right now. So I would say these changes, even if they don't seem to be widespread, they can still be occurring sort of beneath the surface in your life. And they can add up. And possibly by the time of the eclipses that occur in the spring, a lunar eclipse on May 26th at 5 degrees of Sagittarius, and a solar eclipse on June 10th at 20 degrees of Gemini, when those 2 eclipses begin, that will signal change. And that will be the culmination of the subtle things that are happening right now. So maybe it's just the calm before the storm, and maybe you feel like you're going nowhere. But actually, there can be a few other things going on that perhaps you could be conscious of, and maybe they're happening in your life. One big change is that with that moon in Taurus, exalted, it is now squaring the sun in Aquarius. Last week there were the same 8 planets squaring each other in these fixed signs, but the moon and the sun were conjuncting each other. Oh, that's great. Now they're squaring each other. And when the sun and the moon square or oppose each other, it brings indecision and confusion. So that's one thing that is sort of boiling under the surface right now. There's so much uncertainty that people are not sure about their decisions, or even if they should even make a decision right now. A second thing that can be changing subtly, but it might be happening to more people than we realize, is that those 5 planets in Aquarius, which does rule the future and eccentricity and things ahead of their time, are Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, and the Sun. And those 5 planets have no support. In other words, there's nothing in the other 2 air signs, Libra and Gemini. And these 5 planets are being so harshly squared by the 3 in Taurus. And one thing that Aquarius rules is freedom and independence. And it rules eccentricity. It also rules genius. It rules things ahead of their time. And it rules rebellion. And so this is a time with the Sun and the Moon in particular squaring each other, but actually with all 8 planets squaring each other, when there can be people that are saying to themselves, sort of beneath the surface or very quietly, they can be wanting to break free of their constraints. They want their freedom. They want to do their own thing. After all, it's a free country, and they're thinking, okay, I want to get going in my life. So that is another subtle change that is very pronounced right now, but I would say it's sort of hidden a little bit, but it's there and it will be growing. And then the third thing that can be very subtle right now is something that may have a very long-lasting effect. And it is that Aquarius rules a lot of different things. And because all 3 malefic planets are in just these 2 fixed signs, Mars and Uranus are in Taurus. They are squaring the 3rd malefic planet, Saturn, in Aquarius. So the 3 planets that can get you in trouble in your own chart are getting themselves in trouble right now because they're in such harsh aspect to each other among fixed signs that don't ever budge anyway. So this is why I say this is the clash of the titans right here, or it could represent war, because there are people that have very different viewpoints and they're not willing to give in at all. So this greatly challenges the things that Aquarius rules. And so Aquarius actually rules invention, and it rules the whole tech industry. It doesn't just rule the internet and computers and electronics. It rules the equipment that keeps us all connected. It rules the suppliers that supply us with our electronic needs. And it rules social media. And it rules very big communication networks. It rules the whole telecommunication field. And that's what's being challenged. And so since it's Mars and Saturn in Taurus, a fixed financial sign, challenging all these planets in Aquarius, which haven't moved from last week at all, it simply means that there can be people that are heads of some of these companies, or they're heads of government agencies right now, and they are rather high salaried. In other words, they make a lot of money. And they can be very troubled by falling revenues. In other words, this is a time when, there goes your high salaried job if there isn't enough money coming in. And that can really be happening, but at a pretty expensive high level. And also it can bring about even more job losses. Revenue loss equals job loss. But this time it can be job loss at a very high level as well. And it could be among the clash of the titans, who knows? So those subtle things are going to be adding up by the time of the eclipses that arrive this spring. So don't worry, this is the calm before the storm, and you might feel like you're going nowhere, but actually you are on the brink of dynamic change. It's just going to take a little longer to get here, but you can probably understand where it's coming from now, and that's good enough. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Aries. For you, this is a time when you really should be looking for greener pastures, Aries, and that's because once again, after weeks and weeks of this going on, it's still happening. There are no planets in the fire signs. There's nothing fortifying your sign, or Leo, or Sagittarius. So nothing is getting done. The fire signs like action. They like to get out and do things. It's not happening right now. And so that's why you should try to look for greener pastures right now, Aries. Look for something that is intriguing for you, or look to where you can move on, or move to something, an occupation, or even a place where you live that is more challenging to you, or that offers you better opportunities, or somehow opens up your world a little bit. That's what you should be looking for right now. Because once again, because Mars and Saturn, or Mars and Uranus are not out of Taurus, they're there. In fact, Uranus is going to be there until 2025. And they're squaring these planets in Aquarius. Not much has changed since last week, and so actually there's more indecision and confusion since the exalted moon is squaring the sun right now. And that simply means that you may not know how to make financial plans for your future. A lot of people don't right now, but I would suggest you look for something bigger and better, or even more relaxing. But look for something that will make you happier, Aries. You really, I think it's going to take a little looking too. But there are 2 eclipses this year that are really going to benefit you. And that's why I'm saying this is a time to keep your eyes open. And that's because on May 26th, there will be a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius that will trine your sun. And in December, there will be a total solar eclipse in Sagittarius that once again trines your sun. So you're going to have fantastic opportunities, particularly at the end of the year, when you probably will move on if you don't do it before. So I hope you give that a thought, because I don't think you're going to be able to get what you want where you are, Aries. The world has changed, and that's why I suggest you move on. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Taurus. This is a time with the exalted moon in your sign today that you can be having very generous thoughts about your loved ones. Taurus rules high-priced everything, but it rules high-priced real estate, such as big homes, but it also rules commercial real estate, such as apartment buildings and office complexes and shopping malls. And with the exalted moon in your sign joining 2 malefic planets, Mars and Uranus in your sign, and all 3 of them being harshly squared by the 5 planets in Aquarius, I would say that Taurus, you might be at a crossroads right now, and you may have to decide whether you are looking for short-term gain or long-term benefits. And I really suggest you go with the long-term benefits, because Pluto in Capricorn, which isn't being challenged by any planets right now, is trining your sun sign. So there are 4 planets in earth signs trining each other. And that's why long-term gain is what you should be going for. And that doesn't mean that you have to make a lot of money. It's more an emphasis on the security. How secure are your financial resources? That's what you should be looking at right now. So no, I don't think you're going nowhere right now, Taurus. And I don't think you should be satisfied right now with just doing nothing. You should be seeing where your next opportunity for long-term gain is, and then be patient about pursuing it. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Gemini. The 5 planets that are still in Aquarius, Saturn, Jupiter, Venus, and Mercury, your own ruler, Gemini, and the sun at 29 degrees are all trining your sun sign, which is good. There could be a lot of good ideas just flowing in your direction, Gemini. And I think that you're being very receptive to them. You could be very open right now. You know, it isn't true that we're exactly going nowhere. It is that we may not have a firm plan in mind yet of where we all want to go. But we will by the time of the solar eclipse on June 10th, which is in your sign, Gemini. So you particularly are aspected to start something new, and it could be a result of these subtle undercurrents that are going on right now. And because just when it looks like people are going nowhere, that isn't really true. It's that they're changing on the inside instead of the outside. But that's where all change begins. And so I think, Gemini, you're probably changing on the inside too. And it may take you between now and your birthday to actually make a final decision about what you want to do. But I can guarantee that you'll probably be doing plan A and plan B, since your sign rules 2 of everything. And you might be very successful at both. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Oh, Cancer. This is a time when I think that you, as always, can have your mind on your home and your family, but at the same time, I bet you can feel as if you're going nowhere, because this is a time when there isn't people don't have the ability to make dramatic change. For one reason, there's nothing in the fire signs. Fire signs know how to make dramatic change, but there's nothing in any of those signs. So that's not going to happen, at least not right now. And then Cancer, there's not a lot of planets in the water signs either, but there's going to be. Okay, that's coming up, Cancer. But for right now, I think it would be better if you stepped back a little bit and just ask yourself how you feel about things today. You might measure how you feel today against how you felt 5 years ago. And just say, okay, where was I 5 years ago and how did I feel? Do I still feel the same way? I'm sure the answer is no, Cancer, because we all grow and change, even if it's just on the inside, we all do it. And you can be sort of on the verge of some sort of rebirth in one way or another. And I would say it's a rebirth that is uniquely designed just for you. And so it's going to take a lot of honesty on your part to be real honest about what you want at this time in your life, because you just might get it. Who knows? Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Leo. Of course, there are no planets in fire signs, so I think your fondest desires are not coming true at the moment, Leo. But that's okay. A lot of people feel like they're going nowhere. And on top of that, there are still 8 planets, just like there were under last week's new moon in Aquarius. There's still 8 planets. They're still in the same signs. They're not quite in the same position, at least the moon isn't. But they are sort of attacking your sign, Leo. And, you know, even though Leo rules courage and bravery and leadership, you may not know what the future holds right now, because there are 5 planets, particularly the Sun, which is your own ruler, at the 29th degree of fate in Aquarius. And that simply means that something that has to do with your future is more or less being decided upon right now. And I would say you will have no say in the matter whatsoever. 5 planets are opposing your sun sign. You might be the last to know, Leo. Now, it depends on how secure you feel or how your financial situation is. But I would say that your future is being decided, and it can be, there can be a change coming up due to circumstances not only beyond your control, Leo, but it's beyond the control of whoever's making the decisions. In other words, it might be something that is predicated by things that are happening way high up, you know, at the level of top management in corporations or government agencies. Or it may have something to do with budgets or suppliers or some future plan that has to be constrained in one way or another in order to succeed. It might grow later, but it has to be constrained now, and that will affect you as well. So I would say, Leo, try not to expect too much right now. And besides, if you feel like you're going nowhere, you know, join the group. We all feel that way right now. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just that you may have additional worries about money or things that are very expensive that you wish you could afford. But don't go into debt for it, Leo, no matter what. Because remember, the exalted moon is now in Taurus, along with Mars and Uranus, and they are all squaring your sun, and the 5 planets in Aquarius are opposing your sun. 8 planets in fixed signs challenging your sign is just too much, Leo. And so, just back away or go on vacation if you can. Try to find a little joy in life, Leo. There's nothing wrong with that. And Leos have a very good sense of humor. So I hope you can laugh right now, Leo, because I don't think there's much else you can do. So try to relax. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Virgo. There's 4 planets in the Earth signs right now. And they're all trining each other because only one planet moved in the last week, but it moved into an Earth sign. So now the exalted moon and Uranus and Mars in Taurus are all trining your sun, Virgo, and Capricorn, or Pluto in Capricorn is also trining your sun. Now Mars and Pluto are the rulers of Scorpio, and they're both trining your sun. There is an indication, Virgo, that you may come into something like an inheritance or some sort of refund or money coming your way or something that is of value coming your way. There is the possibility. It would be based on a sort of a sense of justice. In other words, maybe it should have come your way before, but it could be doing that now, which is fine. And so this grand trine in this trine in Earth signs is going to benefit you, and that is good. I think, Virgo, that you should sort of just do nothing. In other words, be as quiet as possible right now. It might be in better taste if you didn't say anything at the moment. You're going to benefit, but this isn't the time to, advertise that too much, I don't think, because it may offend others, or other people may feel that you're being luckier than they are, and that could generate a little jealousy. So that's why, your sign rules modesty. There's nothing wrong with being modest right now, Virgo, because I think that you are actually going to benefit from something that should have come your way before. And it might do that now, actually. So good luck. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Libra. Those 5 planets in Aquarius are all trining your sun, Libra. Lucky you, because you can meet the most unusual people right now. They can be very creative. They might be very influential, but you'd almost bump into them and meet them by accident, because that's the way those planets are in Aquarius, and the ruler of Aquarius is Uranus, and Uranus rules sudden surprising change. There's also the possibility, Libra, that suddenly something opens up in the future that is very appealing to you. This doesn't mean that you are going to rush in where angels fear to tread. I don't think you're going to do that, Libra. But there is the possibility that there can be some very interesting people, perhaps some of whom you've already met. And if I were you, and you have met anybody pretty interesting in the last month or two, I would follow up just with a friendly hello, Libra, and see what happens. It could be pretty nice. And so even though the planets in Aquarius are being harshly squared by the 3 planets in Taurus, which means there can be financial problems, but at a pretty high level. So if you're not the owner of a company, or you're not the head of a big agency getting paid millions, or getting paid a lot anyway, then you don't have anything to worry about, Libra. So that is why I would suggest that, be as comfortable as you can, but open yourself up to some new relationships right now. They would have to really interest you, though. It's not just any new relationships. It's something that makes you feel good, or that you are intrigued by in some way. Something that really gets your brain going, as well as your heart. Okay, what does it mean to Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, just like Leo, oh boy, same things happening this week that happened last week, and that is because there's still 8 planets in the fixed signs, and they're all harshly aspecting your sun sign, because yours is a fixed sign. So now the exalted moon, Mars, and Uranus in Taurus are all opposing your sun sign. You either have tax troubles, or else there is a bone of contention about some high-priced property, or about an inheritance or an insurance policy, or a grant or a loan of some kind, or some credit problem. All of that could be sort of coming your way. On the other hand, there may be some money coming your way that was delayed because the investment had not matured until now. And now that it has matured, something could be coming your way. But you'd still have problems because there could be taxes associated with that you would have to pay as well. And then the 6 planets, or the 5 planets in Aquarius, are all squaring your sun, including the sun at the 29th degree of fate in Aquarius. Something in your immediate future, Scorpio, is about to change. And that is due to some sort of a challenge that you will have to face. And I don't think you're causing it. So I don't think there's much you can do about it. It's like it's something that is either an accident, or it's something that is being decided at such a high level that yes, it affects you, but you don't have any input on it. I mean, there's no sense making any complaints. There's nothing you can do. And so I think that you have to just be pretty cautious right now, Scorpio. There are some very good planets coming into Pisces soon, and that will help you out. That at least will help you find out the real story behind all this intrigue. But for right now, Scorpio, I would play my cards real close to the chest. Don't talk to too many people about whatever you learn. Just keep learning things right now. Your sign rules secrecy. This is a good time for you to be as quiet as you can. And if you learn a secret, try to keep it a secret. It might do you a lot of good in the end. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarian? Sagittarius. This is a time without any planets in the fire signs when you may feel as if you're going nowhere. Well, we all do, Sagittarius. But you know, it's really just the calm before the storm. There are subtle shifts in people's emotions. There is indecision and uncertainty going on, but there's also a rebellious attitude growing among many people who want to break free of their constraints and go out and do their thing. And so, you know, yours is a sign that is an intellectual sign, and it's, you know, you like to sort of weigh and measure everything, Sagittarius, before you finally make a decision. And so I would say this is not the time for you to make a decision. There aren't any planets in fire signs. It wouldn't help you. You couldn't do anything about it even if you did make a decision. Things are sort of like on hold right now. Not at a real high level, but at the level that most of us live at in our everyday lives. Things can be a little bit on hold. But that's all right. Things are shifting and changing. And when you endure the lunar eclipse that is coming up in your sign on May 26th this year, you will probably change. There will be a change in your relationships somehow. It could be a very good change, nothing wrong with it. And that could also allow you to travel a lot more, which you would love as well. So if you're undecided now or feel like you're going nowhere, don't worry, Sagittarius. That's not going to last for too much longer. Just be patient, and we don't always have to work at a high speed. It's good for us to just sit back and read and think and try to gain inspiration from others. Nothing wrong with that. That's another way for us to learn things. And yours is a good learning sign. So I hope you enjoy yourself. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, this is a time with these 4 planets in the earth signs when you can feel that, you know, you could, something very expensive could sort of catch your eye, Capricorn. Or since Capricorns are very careful planners and they tend to think far in advance of actually putting their money on anything, this could be a time when you see something that you finally do want to spend your money on. In other words, the exalted moon in Taurus, along with Mars and Uranus, are all trining your sun where you have Pluto. So I would say that you might be the lucky recipient of something that is sort of antique, or something that's been in the family a long time, or something that's a little bit older. That would appeal to you. Capricorns like antiques. Or it can be that you've had your eye on something for a very long time, and maybe the price is getting to be a little lower and affordable. So I would look around if I were you, Capricorn. This is a good time. Maybe, I mean, you probably have the money to pay for something. I'm not suggesting that you jump in right now, but why don't you look at something a little bit more closely right now? It could be something that you've had your heart set on for a long time, and maybe it's a lot closer to coming true than you think. So go for it. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, oh, there are still 5 planets in your sign. Last week there were 6. But they were part of 8 planets that are all squaring each other among the fixed signs. And so the only planet that changed in the last week was the exalted moon, which moved out of your sign through Pisces, through Aries, and now it is in Taurus, squaring the sun in your sign. And so it's you, Aquarius, that could be on the verge of wanting to do something. You could be feeling a little rebellious, like, hey, let me out. I want to do my thing. Well, that's nice. You could also be inundated with really great ideas that just come out of nowhere. You should write them all down, Aquarius. Every single idea that you have now, if it's a creative one, would be a real winner. And so even if you can't do anything about all those ideas right now, you need to write them down. And the reason why is that you have to be a little bit businesslike, because you can create something, but you have to turn it into a product sooner or later. And for that, it's got to have some substance or some organization or a fact sheet or something. And so this is a time when you should really pay attention to yourself, Aquarius. You may have money problems right now because you may be creatively ready to branch out, ready to take the next big step, but you may not have the money right now. And this is simply a time when not much is going on, and even if other people have money, they have their own money worries. And so I don't see a big deal in your future at the moment, Aquarius, but I would say get ready for it. Because you could be very successful by the time Saturn leaves your sign in 2.5 or 3 years. So take your ideas seriously right now and at least write them down. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Oh, Pisces. This is a time when I think you might feel that nothing really solid is happening. Well, that could be because that exalted moon in Taurus, along with 2 malefic planets, Uranus and Mars, are squaring the sun in Aquarius and 4 other planets in Aquarius. And that simply means this is a time of indecision and confusion. It's not just you, Pisces. It's other people. It could, in particular, be someone else, or possibly 2 other people, that have their minds on money. And I'm sure you have your mind on money, but they're looking at a financial problem from their perspective, and you're looking at a financial problem from your perspective, and these 2 perspectives are not meeting in the middle right now. And that is why, Pisces, if I were you, I wouldn't make a big decision right now. Sort of let it, just sit on it for a while. It doesn't mean that your heart isn't in the right place. It's just that everything costs money. And right now, the financial signs are being threatened by the malefic planets that are in the fixed signs. So this isn't the time to part with your money or even do anything that would obligate you financially. just sit back a little bit. And I don't mean change your mind or anything, but this is just not the right time. All right, thanks so much for tuning in. Remember, you can see the show and read our blog on our website, starborninstitute.org. Bye.